Joining us live now is the Royal Editor at the Daily Mirror, Russell Miles. Talk through the day's events. Russell, good to see you. Thanks for your time. Got to say, went off without a hitch today. Beautiful pictures that emerged from Scotland, and it was flawless in the end.
Yeah, it was, Peter. Good morning. I mean, look, we are witnessing history before our very eyes, aren't we? And I think the people of Scotland should be very, very proud this morning, because leaving Balmoral for the final time would have been an incredibly emotional occasion for all of the staff there. Of course, the Queen had been in the Balmoral ballroom for 24 hours prior to leaving. And the staff were paying their respects. I understand they were very, very teary-eyed before leaving and taking that journey for 6 hours by road to Holyrood House, which is the Queen's, indeed the Sovereign's residence in Edinburgh. And indeed, you know, the people lying in the complete procession. I mean, there was certain moments where there was just solitary people in the middle of nowhere, and then there was huge crowds, 15 deep, when it came in to Edinburgh. There was hushed silence when the cortege came in, and an incredibly emotional occasion today.
Yeah, people very emotional here, as Pete spoke to some well-wishers here at Buckingham Palace as well. This is a mourning period like no other, of course, but how important was it for the Queen to see those private moments, allow her staff those private moments, because not even her grandchildren, great-grandchildren were allowed those private moments?
Well, of course, and I think you look at what happened right at the beginning of the day. There were 6 gamekeepers that the Queen had a personal relationship with, and had discussed these funeral plans with them. I mean, these long-held funeral plans that she knew the minutiae of the detail, and she had personally invited them to when this day would come, to be part of this occasion. And the fact that they carried the coffin to the waiting hearse in front of all those staff who had come to pay their respects is incredibly personal moment. And then you saw the cortege going through these small towns, the places where they're very used to seeing the Queen and the royal family holiday at Balmoral, be sort of one with the community. And I think that they felt a huge sense of loss today, and certainly the people of Scotland have come out in force to say goodbye to the Queen.
Yeah, it's interesting. We were talking to a royal commentator in the last couple of hours on the program this morning, Russell, and he mentioned that despite all the perfection that we've seen so far when it comes to this send-off, he says, you ain't seen nothing yet. So there's going to be much more to come. Yeah, the body of the Queen obviously staying in Edinburgh for a few more days before coming down to London for the state funeral.
Well, definitely. And I mean, tomorrow you're going to see a completely different scene again, because there'll be a lot more people at Edinburgh. Today, the Queen was brought to Holyrood House. Tomorrow, King Charles and the Queen Consort will fly back up to Scotland. It will be the start of the King's tour of the UK, where he is seeking messages, receiving messages of condolence. And then there will be a funeral procession taking the Queen's coffin from Holyrood House to St Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh. And this will be the first time that the public really get to see the Queen. They will be given an opportunity to queue up, pay their last respects, and again, this will be a huge, solitary, solemn moment for the people of Scotland before the Queen takes that final journey on Tuesday with her daughter Princess Anne accompanying her body to get back to London. So, and then once you get back to London, I think the scenes will be of such huge magnitude. It'll just go down in history.
Russell, if I could inject a lighter moment just right now, explain me 2 things. Did the beekeeper really go to explain to the bees that Her Majesty had passed away? And what do we think about the corgis in separate custody or joint custody with Andrew and Sarah?
Well, I love this story about the beekeeper, and apparently the beekeeper did, they often say about beekeepers, you have to have a relationship with them because I imagine they will sting you. So apparently the beekeeper who was at Balmoral did actually go and have a very solemn moment with the bees. And it was one of the commentators saying earlier on the week that, of course, the corgis will know nothing of the Queen's passing. But I thought that was quite strange because dogs are normally quite astute, aren't they? And you mentioned the corgis. Yes. We hear that the Duke of York and his ex-wife, the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, are going to take custody of the corgis. So, I mean, listen, at least they're finding a home. I mean, I imagine they would have been much happier running around Balmoral and the Windsor estate with the Queen, but at least they're being looked after.
We're just getting back to more serious matters now. When the body of the Queen will lie in state, the coffin will lie in state here at Westminster Hall in a couple of days from Wednesday. Russell, has there been any details released on how the royal household is going to facilitate the absolute sea of humanity, the tens of thousands of people who every day are going to want to see the coffin, to say their own goodbyes?
Yeah, well, I think that's an understatement. I mean, talking to some of the organisers today, and especially the Metropolitan Police of London, are not only have a huge security situation on their hands. I mean, they're talking about the fact that we've staged the Olympics and the Commonwealth Games in the UK recently. I mean, that will absolutely pale into insignificance because this is such a huge operation. They're expecting 2 million people to descend on London every day. They believe that there will be 1 million people over the 4 days that the Queen will be lying in state at the Palace of Westminster in London who want an opportunity. And of course, there will be so many people. We've seen this outpouring of emotion around the world, and people will be invited to queue up 24 hours a day. They'll be able to get into the Palace of Westminster. They've been almost advised not to bring small children because the queues will be so huge. I don't think we'll have seen anything like it since the days of Princess Diana, where people queued through the night to sign books of condolence. But of course, this is such a huge historic event that, I mean, all arms of the British state are at play here, and they're all working round the clock. I can assure you of that. And like today, and the people of Scotland did Her Majesty proud. Just hope that it all goes without a hitch as well, because it's what she deserves and what all the people deserve who have planned this for so long.
Yeah, she certainly does. Russell Myers, so great to talk to you. Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.